You must see what you can do.
Good evening, Rav.
How are you guys? How are you? How's everyone?
Fine, thank you. By you?
Shalom, Rav.
Baruch Hashem. Oh, who's that?
Me.
Who's talking? Louis. Hello, Louis. Hello, Louis.
Hello, Louis.
Hello, Rav.
How are you? How's it, Dr. Liz? How are you?
That's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's always good to see you all. What's news in Israel? Tell us.
Things are looking up. They're going to decrease the bidud from, they say from 12, it was 14, then 12, and hopefully it will be 10 days. And then hopefully it will be no more days. But it's getting better, and they're opening up the shops. The shops are opening it up. And, you know, it's so sad. You go downtown Yerushalayim, and so many of the shops have closed. But life is getting back slowly. But Baruch Hashem, and the amount, the most important is the amount of fatalities or those getting infected is decreasing. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, that's the most important. Good. Rabotai, I would like to take, first of all, the opportunity, and I want you to hear it for me. I don't know if some of you already heard, because I know that Lionel told me that he's going to publicize it on his newsletter. I just received another smicha.
Oh, Mazel Tov. Oh,
Mazel Tov.
Thank
Mazel
you.
Tov. Wow.
Just special in Marot. Marot is purity, what we call that when you bring a cloth to the rabbi to check if a person is tameh or tahor. So I just received it on Tuesday. The exam was on Sunday. And Baruch Hashem, we passed. I'm waiting for the certificate.
Mazel Tov, Rav. Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Koyach, Rav.
Mazel tov, Rabbi Ashkar.
Koyach, Rav.
Shekayach, Rav.
So now you hear it for me, and so I hope that you hear it. Rather you hear it for me than someone else, and you're going to be upset. Okay, so בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח.
It's amazing what he's done, eh?
I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna mute everyone except Mark. Mark, you unmute yourself. You know how to do that. What we're gonna do now, I'm gonna do the introduction for the parsha, and then we're gonna go through the parsha. So, בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. השיעור יהיה לעילוי נשמת הרב אברהם חיים בן אליעזר יעקב, רבי טנזה, לעילוי נשמת ג'ו ברוק, יוסף יונה בן תמדוברה, לעילוי נשמת אסתר קדן בת קטיה, לעילוי נשמת מרדכי בן רחמה, that's our friend מוטי, ולרפואת in health of number one is Menashe Naji ben Farha, Liora bat Miriam, Hefti Bahana bat Sarah Imenu, Golda Gitol bat Shulamit, Leah Dvora bat Esther, Avraham Arab Avraham ben Marima. Okay, Bezrat Hashem Naaseh v'Natzliach. So introduction to Parashat Chayei Sarah, we have to understand what's happening. In the year 2085 for the creation, Sarah Imenu passed away in the age of 127. And Avraham Avinu buried Sarah Imenu in Ma'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron. Why the city of Hebron called Hebron? Chazal explained that if you take the word Hebron and you split it, Hebron, that means Haver Tov Vayali. Akadosh Baruch Hu say, I have a good friend. Who was that good friend? Avraham Avinu that lived in Hebron. Mamre, the city of Mamre, we explained last week that was the friend of Avraham Avinu. But the city of Hebron, why is it called Hebron? Remember, Rabotai, because Avraham Avinu was a good friend to Akadosh Baruch Hu. And Akadosh Baruch Hu was proud to say that he have a good friend. Who's that? Avraham Avinu. And that's why it's called Hebron. In the same year, in 2000 years and 85 for the creation, Rivka Imenu born. She born to her father Betuel. Betuel, her father, was the king of Aram Naharaim. Okay? Anyone know what was her mother's name? So I was searching for a long time. And funny enough, when I wrote the show, I was looking at the book that called Yagel Libenu. And there he bring that her mother, the mother of Rivka, was Devorah. Remember the name? Devorah. Devorah was the mother of Rivka. In the year 2088 for the creation, Avraham Avinu take Rivka Imenu as a wife. According to Rashi, she was 3 years old when Avraham Avinu married her. Ado, the Gaon Mivilna, Rabbi Eliyahu Mivilna, and I see that the Tosfot.
Was that Yitzchak? Was it Yitzchak who married her?
Yes,
Or not?
yes, sorry. What did I say? Avraham? My mistake.
Yeah.
My mistake. It was Yitzchak
No,
married.
I just thought that
Moshe.
Sorry. Yitzchak Avinu married Rivka in the age of 3. That's according to Rashi. The Gaon Mivilna and the Tosfot in a Gemara in Masechet Yevamot in page 61, folio 2, they say no. They don't agree to it. They say that she was 14 years old when Avraham Avinu married, when Yitzchak Avinu married Rivka. Yitzchak Avinu was in the age of 40, okay? And previous year we explained why 40. Arba'im labina. What it means labina? That Avraham Avinu especially make Yitzchak Avinu wait until he have the wisdom, that he said that when he gets married, because all the women that was in Eretz Canaan, in Aram Naharaim, okay, in Haran, all of those women was either worshippers and morality, they was corrupt. So Yitzchak Avinu said that, Avraham Avinu said that I'll marry my son only when he's old enough to understand and not when he have enough wisdom that no woman will influence him. Avraham Avinu in the same year that Yitzchak Avinu married Rivka, he was in the age of 140 years old. And the same year, Yitzchak Avinu bring back Ketorah. Ketorah is Hagar. Why did they change the name? Rashi HaKadosh explained that now she corrected her deed and it was like Ketoret. Ketoret is a spice, the spice that they used to bring, the spices that they used to bring in an altar. And the only reason that Yitzchak brought back Ketorah Hagar to Avraham Avinu, that shouldn't be Yehud between his new wife and when he's not at home with his father Avraham Avinu. Okay, then from the same moment that Rivka Imenu entered the tent of Sarah Imenu, Hazal say that Vayachnisea Ola. What does it mean Vayachnisea Ohela? Why a Ohela with hay, not oil? Hazal asked, and the Mefarshim explain, and I saw that the Zohar bring it, and many other of the commentary, if I'm not mistaken, also bring it, that the Ohela with the hay come to show you that the Holy Spirit, the Shekhinah Kedosha, returned back to that tent. From the moment that Rivka Imenu entered the tent of Sarah Imenu, the Shekhinah came with it. Not only that, remember some other miracle thing. What happened? Sarah Imenu used to light a candle on Friday night. It used to last for a full week until the following Friday night. When Rivka Imenu entered the tent, she was so holy, the same like Sarah Imenu. She used to light a candle on Friday night. It used to last until the following Friday night. So from here we see that when Sarah Imenu used to light a candle, when she was alive, it used to last for a week. The same Rivka Imenu, when she came into the oil of Sarah, okay, that miracle happened. And today I was speaking to my wife about it, funny enough, and she told me a hidush that I never heard. She said to me that she heard a hidush that whatever happened in a tabernacle. Where is it learned? From the tent of Abraham and Sarai Menu. That means that the tent of Sarai Menu and Abraham Avinu was there, number one, the Holy Spirit. We know that the Holy Spirit was over the tabernacle. In the tent, in the tabernacle was Ner Tamid. Where's the Ner Tamid come from? From the candle that used to light all week. That Sarai Menu used to light on Friday night. It was lost until the following week, the following Friday night. So we see from here, that way it came, the comparison. In the year 2108 for the creation, Rivka Imenu given a birth to a twin, to Yaakov Avinu and Esav Rasha, the wicked Esav. That's after 20 years of marriage. That's mean, and that age, Yitzhak Avinu was in the age of 60, according to one opinion that Rivka Imenu was in the age of 23. If she married in the age of 3, now she's 23 when she given a birth. According to the second opinion that we brought, and that was the Gaon Mivilna and the Tosfot on Masechet Yevamot that we brought on page 61, folio 2, now she's in the age, a matter of fact, of 34 years old when she given a birth to the twin. Yaakov Avinu, when he born circumcised. Hazal said that he was such a beautiful looking man that he looked exactly like Adam HaRishon, the creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Esav HaRasha, when he born, he was a Pere Adam, as Hazal say, Yado B'kol V'yad Kol Bo. Esav born with hair on his head, he have a beard, he have a teeth, and a matter of fact, Hazal explained that when he came out, he didn't want, because Rivka Imenu, according to the mystical rabbi, was supposed to bring all the 12 tribes. He didn't want her to bring the 12 tribes. Lo Alenu, when he came out, he pulled the womb of his mother. That's Esav HaRasha. Okay, Avraham Avinu died in the age of 175 in the year 2123 years for the creation. And we must understand, Hazal explained that Avraham Avinu died 5 years earlier, because he was supposed to die in the age of 180, but he died in 175. And the main reason for it, that he will not see his son, his grandson, sorry, not his son, his grandson, Esav, becomes such a wicked person. And Hazal in Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, in chapter 62, 42, there Hazal explained that the main reason, what caused the death of Abraham Avinu, he had a problem with his intestine, okay, from a disease on his intestine, that what caused him to die. And that time that Abraham Avinu died, Yaakov Avinu and Esav Avinu was in the age of 15 years old. That's introduction for us for the Parsha. And now, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm gonna continue with the Parsha. Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. ויהיו חיי שרה 100 שנה ו20 שנה ו7 שנים, שני חיי שרה.
Sarah's lifetime was 100 years, 20 years and 7 years, the years of Sarah's life.
Okay, here the Torah tells us something very extraordinary, but I want to correct something. If you read the Hebrew, you'll see that the word hundreds, after that come years, shanim. 20, sorry, it says shana, 100 shana. After that, it's come 20 shana. That means singly again. Shana is single, 1 year. When it's come to 7, it says shanim. Many and plural. I know that in English, when they wrote it, they all wrote it as years in plural. So just to correct, and on that, I'm gonna focus the beginning of the show. many of the Mefarshim ask, if you look carefully, that it say 100 shana. It should say 100 shanim, 100 years, like in English, as you say in plural. But in the Torah, it say 100 years, shana, 1 year. And then it say 20 shana. 20 shana, again, in single. Why? It should be plural. And when it's come to 7, that should be single, it's turned to plural, exactly upside down. What's happening here? And that's many of the Mefarshim ask, what's happening in this culture? What's happening here? So I saw a commentary on the Zohar HaKadosh. The Zohar HaKadosh explained it like this. I'm going to read the Aramaic and then I will translate it to Hebrew. And then, Be'ezrat Hashem, I will explain the show. So the Zohar HaKadosh say like this. Man dehu za'ir, ihu rav. A person that is small, a matter of fact, he's big. Uman dehu rav, ihu za'ir. And a person that thinks that he's big, a matter of fact, is small. What does it mean? What's happening here? So the Zohar explained that a person that in this life, man dehu za'ir, a person that lives in this world, and he considers himself nothing, and he doesn't get yichus, and people, he doesn't have money. He's a very simple man, down to earth, doesn't get a lot of publicity. People don't know about him. Okay? This, in this world, he say up in heaven, he have plenty. He's a big. What it mean big, Rav? That mean up in heaven, he have big value. We don't know his value in heaven. The Zohar continues, say, Uman dehu rav hu zayir. And a person that he is in this world, okay, he is very famous, he's rich, he have a lot of yiches, a lot of people give him a lot of honor. Up in heaven, he have nothing. It's come to tell you something very important. It's come to tell you a person that looking for an honor in this world, okay, and receive it, up in heaven he have garnished. And Hazal tell us something extraordinary in a Gemara in Masechet Pesachim in page 50, folio 1. Listen what Hazal tell us. Hazal tell us a story about Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef was the son of Rabbi Yoshua ben Levy. Remember, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levy, just for general knowledge, enter Gan Eden with a full body, the same like Hanoch, the same like Pinchas. They married to enter Gan Eden with a full body, not just the neshama, okay, with the physical body. And Hazal tell us that Rav Yosef, the son of Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, was very, very sick, and then he passed away. And Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi and the sages was very disturbed by it, and they dove into HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he come alive again. That means from here we learn that the Tanaim, the sages, can bring a person back alive. Okay. So when he come back alive, the father, Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, turned to his son and he said to him, tell me, my son, what did you see up in heaven? So there he tell him 3 things that he saw, but I'm going to focus on one thing. The one thing that he told them, Olam hafuch ra'iti, elyonim lema'ala v'tachtonim lemata. What does it mean? I saw an upside down world. The world up in heaven is upside. It's not what we see here. He say whatever elyonim lemata, those that famous, those that get yichres and publicize, and everyone give them a big honor up in heaven, gurnished. V'tachtonim lemala. That means that they consider as nothing. So his father said to him, Olam barur ra'ita. What it means, Olam barur ra'ita? You saw a clear world. What we see here in this world, we human beings see to the eyes. We don't see to the heart. We don't know how good is the person, what there is on his heart, what he's thinking, what is he meaning. We don't know nothing about it. So, say Hazal, from here you learn about Sarah Imenu. And that will explain also the Zohar HaKadosh. Sarah Imenu, okay, when she was in this world, okay? She was, and not only that she was so valued, and we bring now the source, Hazal said that she was so, she pretended like she nothing. No one knew about Sarah Imenu, okay? But Sarah Imenu come to tell us that all her life, that she was young, she was old, she all the time was modest. When did we realize that Sarah Imenu was such a great and a death? How do we realize that? We realize that when Sarah Imenu, when she died, the candle that was lit in her tent on Friday night, suddenly didn't last anymore for a full year. So Hazal say, oh, so what's happened here? From here you learn that Sarah Imenu was a great woman. We'll get to it just now again, to the candle, we'll see what does it mean. Okay, I saw another commentary in Midrash Rabbah. In Midrash Rabbah, in chapter 58, verse 3, Midrash Bereshit Rabbah on our parsha. And he explained, why does it say 127? The number 127, what does it mean? He said that it was another woman, and her name was Esther Amalka, Queen Esther. Queen Esther was from the same soul of Sarah Imenu. And he said the only difference between Sarah Imenu to Esther Malka was that Sarah Imenu in this world done it, everything that she done, she showed it. Everyone saw it. Esther done it behester. The word Esther, if you take the root of the word Esther, it's mean Esther, hidden. For example, if you take Sarah Imenu to the age of 127, came Esther Malka, that she was the queen of 127 countries. Not only that, if you look carefully, Sarah Imenu, she was in a tent. What's the connection to Esther Malka? Esther Malka, she hidden herself. Although that she was the number one woman number one, the first woman in the world, you know, everyone that become the president of America, you know, the woman, yeah, the first woman, yes. So, Esther Malka, although that she was the first woman of the world, Hazal say that she always hidden herself, Esther Malka. Why? No one knew her nation. No one knew her religion. Not only that, she was very modest. That although that she was the first woman, she always was modest. No one heard about her. Not only that they didn't heard about her, that she make sure that she was in the publicity eyes. But that's what's come to tell us, said in Midrash Rabbah, the connection between Esther Malka and Sarah Imenu. That the 127 now that she lived, it's come to give her another chance. When? Well, many years later, when she became a queen, the first lady, is she going to change her behavior or not? No. And that's what Avraham Avinu said to Sarah Imenu when they gone down to Egypt. Now I suddenly realize that you're a beautiful looking woman. Why? Because Sarah Imenu was so modest that Avraham Avinu couldn't see nothing about her. She always used to hide herself in a tent. The angel asked Avraham Avinu, where is your wife? In an oil, in a tent. She's a modest woman. And that's what it's come to teach us. The message here, that a Jewish woman should be modest, should be look after herself. Obviously, she have to look nice. No one said that she must dress. She must always look nice, but she must dress modest. That's the message here. Let's continue to verse 2. And here we see something very interesting. Look what the Torah tells us. Vatamot Sarah bekiryat arba, היא חברון בארץ כנען, ויבוא אברהם לספוד לשרה ולבכותה.
Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to eulogize Sarah and to bewail her.
Okay, the Torah tells us that Sarah died in Hebron, in Kiryat Arba. We explained many years why Dafka in Hebron, why Dafka in Kiryat Arba, and we brought many ideas. One of the ideas why Dafka in Kiryat Arba, because that way is Me'arat HaMachpelah. It's the grave of the patriarch. And there only 4 couples can be buried. And who they are? Who's those 4 couples? Is Adam HaRishon ve'Chava. Remember that. Then Yitzhak ve'Rivka. Yaakov ve'Leah, because Rachel Imenu died on Derech Bethlehem. And there is one more thing that buried there. Anyone know? The head of Esav Avinu. The head of Esav HaRasha was on a feet of Yaakov Avinu. We'll speak about it, please God, later on in a parsha. We'll see in Parashat Vayechi, we'll explain what's happening there. What's happened with the head of Esav, how is it buried? Dafka, the head being buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah and the body is outside. Anyway, but that's not for now. But the question that many of the Mefarshim ask, יצא הנה פסוק, ויבוא אברהם לספוד לשרה ולבכותה. So if you look at the word לבכותה, there is a כף קטנה. If you take the כף קטנה, from far יצא ולביתה. That means from here we're learning that Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imenu have a daughter. Although there is a mahloket, if it was Sarah's daughter or not, Hazal and Gemara, but that's not for now. So on the pshat of the Dvarim, Avraham and Sarah have a daughter. But that's not the question that I'm going to ask. I'm going to make the question differently. The question is, it said to eulogize to Sarah and to cry. Wait, I don't understand. When people eulogize, usually they cry. So why here the Torah tells us specifically that Avraham come to eulogize and to cry for Sarah? Usually when people eulogize for the deceased, they cry. So how come that here the Torah tells us in 2 different methods? Number 1, eulogizing. Number 2, to cry. So one opinion is when it said to crying, that he didn't cry a lot, and that's why the letters Chaf is very small. But we explain it now in a different level. So I'm going to explain what Hazal bring in the Midrash. Hazal say in the Midrash, when it's come to eulogize to Sarah, you know why Abraham eulogized to Sarah? Because Sarah was such a righteous woman. If she would live another year, another 2 years, or maybe 10 years, we don't know. Okay? How many mitzvot will Sarah merit to make? And if she would live more, she just will make more mitzvot. But now that she dies, she can't make any mitzvot. Avraham Avinu come and eulogize for what? For Sarah, that she can't do any more mitzvot. That was his eulogy. And we'll see later on, we'll speak more about the eulogy. And the crying, because Hazal tell us 3 days for the cries. He said like this. Hazal explained like this. You know what was the crying? The crying was Abraham cried. You know why he cried? Because Sarah Imenu passed away. And Sarah Imenu was such a righteous woman that in her merit, she protected the entire generation that lived. And Hazal say like this, where's the answer to it? So I saw that the Ritva, let me explain to you who's the Ritva, I'll give a bit of knowledge. The Ritva, it's Rabbi Yom Tov ben Avraham. He born 770 years ago in the city of Sevilla, in Spain. And in his commentary on the Gemara Masechet Shabbat, page 22, folio 1, say the Ritva, he say, how do we know that in the merit of Sarai Imenu, the entire generation used to be protected, and her merit, that she used to protect the generation. Listen what the Ritva say. The Ritva say what we explain in the introduction to the Parsha. He say, if you look carefully, Sarai Imenu used to light a candle on Friday night. That candle used to last until the following Friday night. The same like in Bet HaMikdash, Ner HaTamid, that never switched off. He said, look, from that you learn that the Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, was in a house, in a tent, where they used to live. And if the Spirit was there, everything that was surround Sarai Imenu used to be protected. That means when Sarai Imenu passed away, Avraham Avinu cried that there is no one to protect the generation anymore. So we see from here that he eulogized that she can't do any mitzvot. The crying was because the protection that she used to give. And that's what it says. Vayavo Avraham lispot, to eulogize. Lesara velifkota. Not only to eulogize, also another reason why to cry. He didn't cry because the eulogize. He cried because of merit now not there anymore. There's no one to protect that generation. By the way, you look how Avraham Avinu was modest, that he was a righteous man. The father of the nation, the father of the Jewish nation and the Jewish world, say that doesn't have any more, no one to protect. Okay, let's continue. And then it says, Vayavo Avraham, and Avraham came. Many of the Mefarshim say, what it mean, and Avraham came? So in the Midrash, they ask that question, and the Midrash answer like this. He came from Har HaMoriah. He came from the mountain of Moriah. Mountain of Moriah, Har HaMoriah, that's Bet HaMikdash. The question become, no, so what's the Chokhmah? What's the Hidush here? What are you telling me? So everyone will say, according to the Pshat of Dvarim, it was straight after the pass of Maaseh HaAkedah. That means after Avraham Avinu took Yitzhak Avinu to the Akedah in Har HaMoriah, immediately we know the Midrash that the Satan come and tell Sarah Imenu, that Avraham Avinu taking a son to be sacrificed, but he didn't sacrifice him. He didn't tell her why. So she was thinking, Chas v'shalom, maybe because he wasn't pure enough, and she blamed herself. And Hazal said, Parha nishmata, that her soul, she got like a heart attack. But really, what's hiding behind it? We have to look at it deep. So I saw a commentary of Rabbi Aharon Levin. Rabbi Aharon Levin, by the way, there's two of them. Rabbi Aharon HaLevin, that's Sefer HaChinuch. He lived 785 years ago in Spain. He wrote Sefer HaChinuch. The one that I'm bringing now, it's Rabbi Aharon HaLevin. He born 141 years ago in Galicia. And in his book, Hadrash Ve'ayun, he explained like this, that when Avraham Avinu come to eulogize Sarai Imenu, okay, what was the main idea that he wanted to eulogize to Sarai Imenu? Said the Rabbi Aharon HaLevin, he took, you know what he spoke about? He spoke about the Akedah. That means he spoke about when he took his son Yitzhak to the Akedah, how happy Yitzhak Avinu was going to be sacrificed in honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How Yitzhak Avinu didn't resist. He done whatever he been told to sacrifice his own soul in merit of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And said Rabbi Aharon HaLevi, you know where was the source to it? From his mother. His mother given him all the strength, all the enthusiasm to give himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what it says. Vayavo Avraham, when Avraham Avinu came to eulogize to Sarah, where is he came from Har HaMoriah? He came to eulogize and to explain how her son, that's Yitzhak Avinu, her son, was willing to give his soul to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the age of 37. So who planted inside Yitzhak Avinu all of those? It was Sarah Imenu. And that was the source for the eulogy. So from here, we can understand what it means that Bame Hara Moriah, the Midrash say, come from the mountain of Moriah. That means that what was the basic story that he took and he wanted to eulogize? It was Hara Moriah. How Yitzhak Avinu, the son, was willing to give his soul. That's only because the mother educated him for the fear of heaven and the love of heaven. Let's continue, and now we're going to move on to verse 9. And in verse 9, we see something very interesting. Look what it says. ויתן לי את מערת המכפלה, אשר לו, אשר בקצה שדהו, בכסף מלא יתננה לי, בתוככם לאחוזת קבר.
Let him grant me the cave of Machpelah, which is his on the edge of the field. Let him grant it to me for its full price in your midst as an estate for a burial site.
So here we see something very extraordinary. There is a negotiation. Avraham Avinu negotiate with Ephron Hachiti, with Ephron, in the front of the member of the city of Hebron. And many of the Mefarshim ask two questions. The question number one that we have to ask is, why did Avraham Avinu doing the negotiation with Ephron in public? Why you don't negotiate privately? When someone go to the bank manager and he want to do a business deal, you do it privately. You're going to do any negotiation, you do it privately, you don't do it publicly. How come that Avraham Avinu here done it publicly? Question number one. Question number two, look what it says. יתננה לי, okay, בכסף מלא יתננה לי. That means Avraham Avinu insist that he will pay for Ma'arat HaMachpelah. Why? Someone want to give you a present, take it. Why do you don't want to take it for free? Those are the two questions that many of the Mefarshim speak about, and we have to understand what's happening behind it. So I'm going to bring number one, for the question number one, why did Avraham Avinu have to negotiate with Hebron publicly in front of everyone? So I'm going to bring a commentary of Rabbi Soliman Ohana. Rabbi Soliman Ohana was one of the main students of Ari HaKadosh. He was a great Kabbalistic. He born in a city of Fez in Morocco. He born 402 years ago. And say Rabbi Soliman Ohana, remember that was a great Kabbalistic that lived in the 16th century in Tzfat. And he said, you know why? He said, to understand that, you have to go to the Gemara in Masechet Baba Metziah, Kuf Het Amud Aleph, 108:41. Listen what he said. He said, the Gemara there tell us that we have a special din. A din is a law. Dina de davar meitzera. What does it mean, Dina de davar meitzera? I'm going to translate it from Aramaic to Hebrew. If two people have a field, one next to each other, Chaim Yankel and Chaim Shmerol, Chaim Yankel want to sell his field, he's obligated to offer his field first to Chaim Shmerol. He can't sell the field before he offers it to his neighbor. That means there is a law in the Torah that if you have a field or house and you have a neighbor, you obligate to offer it first to the neighbor, and then if the neighbor doesn't want it, you can sell it to everyone. But lechatchila, you have to offer it to your neighbor. That's called Dina de davar metzera. Okay? Say Rabbi Soliman Ohana like this. Avraham Avinu, when he come to negotiate for the grave, he knew that Ephron lived where? In Hebron, and Bnei Het in Hebron. So the neighbor, they have the right to buy first the Ma'arat HaMachpelah. So Avraham Avinu come there, and he negotiate with Ephron Hachiti in the front of Bnei Het, and when they all agree, that Avraham Avinu can take that piece of land where it's called Ma'arat HaMachpelah, Avraham Avinu done it on public. Why? So no one later on will say, and didn't been offered first. So he wanted everyone else to be there and not to dispute that. Okay, so that we can understand why negotiate in public. But the second question that we ask, why did Avraham Avinu insist to pay for the grave? So according to the idea is that, again, now I'm going to the Gemara in Masechet Baba Metziah in page 108, but now folio 2, not folio 1. There we have a law. The Gemara tells us a law that if a person giving you a present, okay, something for free, he can change his mind. Not only that he can change his mind, he can give it to anyone, whoever he wants. Avraham Avinu say, if he gonna give it to me for free, if Ephron gonna give it to me for free, he can change his mind in the last minute. And if he can change his mind in the last minute, am I gonna lose the grave of patriarch? No. Now that I'm paying you, it belongs to me. You can't change your mind and you can't give it to anyone. I want it for me. So that means that all what Avraham Avinu done, the negotiation in public and insisting giving money to Ephron was for a reason. Another opinion, listen to that Hazal explained, there's another reason why Avraham Avinu paid. Look what he paid. 400 shekel kesef over lasocher. That means 400 shekel. That anyone can, it's a currency that everyone can deal with that. The same like a US dollar, let's call it. Not a rand, because rand is in South Africa, but the US dollar, you can trade with that anywhere in the world. So Hazal explained what's the secret behind the number 400. 400, Hazal tell us, the Kabbalist rabbi, the mystical rabbi said that there is 400 evil forces, kohot tuma, kohot haresha. Say it's brought in the name of the Zohar, in the name of Ari, that Avraham Avinu given him those 400 to weaken those evil forces. Where did the number 400 come again? You'll see it when Esav gonna meet with Yaakov Avinu. ו400 איש, ויבוא עשיו ו400 איש איתו. That's what it says. ויבוא עשיו ו400 איש איתו. That when Esav came, he brought 400 men. What did it mean 400 men that he brought? There the Zohar HaKadosh and the mystical rabbi explained that he brought with him 400 evil forces to fight with Yaakov Avinu. So Avraham Avinu wanted to weaken those kind of power, the evil forces. He paid 400, okay? Later on, we explain also for many years why dafka 400 shekel, that money that you can trade. Why did Avraham Avinu do? Avraham Avinu kaved, בכסף, בזהב, במקנה. Why did Avraham Avinu didn't offer Ephron HaHitti? Listen, I'll pay you some cash. I'll pay you some in, what do you call it, in flock, some in silver, you know? No, you pay him exactly money that you can trade. We'll explain it just now. So he'd say, why did Avraham Avinu have to pay? Hazal explained that for the future, that the Goyim wouldn't say that Avraham received what? The Ma'arat HaMachpelah. And if he received it from Ephron HaHitti as a present, he can change his mind and they can take it back. And for that, Avraham Avinu paid 400 shekel. Although there's three places that our sages pay for it. And the interesting thing, the Muslim in control. One of them is Ma'arat HaMachpelah, that Avraham Avinu bought from Ephron HaHitti. The second one is Yaakov Avinu that bought a piece of land from Shechem, from Shechem ben Hamor, that he bought a piece of land where Yosef HaTzadik been buried. And the third one was David HaMelech. David HaMelech bought Har HaMoriah me'Aravna Yebusi. That's where is Bet HaMikdash. Although 3 of those now in the control of the evil forces. But now I'm going to answer, why does it have to be 400 currency that everyone can trade? 400 shekel kesef over לסוחר. Everyone can trade with those 400. Mefarshim explained that Ephron, he was from Hittite, from the nation of Het. And they used to worship idols. Avraham Avinu said, listen, I'm spreading the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu all over the world, that there is one creator. If I'm going to give him, if I'm going to give Ephron gold, silver, or money that people can't trade, he might going to take that, or he take the flock even, and sacrifice it to the idols. Or with the piece of gold, the piece of silver that I'm going to give him, he's going to make the idols from it. So Avraham Avinu was so worried that no one will use his money, has v'shalom, for idols. And that's what it say. Hazal explained why he given Ephron HaHitti 400 shekel kesef over l'socher. That means 400 shekel that everyone can trade with that. So now we can understand, number one, why did Avraham Avinu negotiate in public? Number two, why did Avraham Avinu was insisting to pay Ephron HaHitti? With your permission, we're going to jump now. We're going to move to chapter 24, verse 1. In chapter 24, verse 1, we see something very, very interesting. And we have to understand, what does it say here? And where is it? Here's it. Ve'avraham zaken baba yamim. Ve'adonai birech et Avraham bakol.
Abraham was old, well on in years, and Hashem had blessed Abraham with everything.
Okay. The word bachol, what does it mean? If you look, many of the Mefarshim, Rashi HaKadosh bring bechol in gematria ben. Ben, it means a son. That means when a person have a son, that's it. But the Mefarshim say another opinion. Bechol, Avraham Avinu, we explained earlier that the word lifkota, if we take the small kaf, it's a lebita, that Avraham Avinu have a daughter and her name was Bechol. That's pshat of the dvarim. But come Rabbi Moshe Sofer. Rabbi Moshe Sofer was the Hatam Sofer, the famous Hatam Sofer. He born in the city of Frankfurt in Germany 257 years ago. And he explained like this. You know what it means, Bachol? I will explain it to you like this. There is 3 different ways to understand Bachol. And he explained like this. Number 1, when Abraham Avinu been blessed by Kadosh Baruch Hu with everything, you know what it means, everything? Number 1, that Abraham Avinu was kind of a human being, that he looked and cared about everyone else except himself. That means that Abraham Avinu, all what he was interested, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means he wanted to publicize the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he got blessing from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he will help everyone else in the world. Another explanation that the Mefarshim bring, that Avraham Avinu, what it means, Bachol, Avraham Avinu was always happy. Whatever he got from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever he had, he was happy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu give me everything. Even if he didn't have, he was happy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu give me. He was happy with whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu given him. And that's what considered Bakol. Avraham Avinu never saw that he have less than someone else. Whatever he had, he was happy. So that's mean Bakol, he was happy. The third idea that bring the Hatam Sofer, and he say that Avraham Avinu, not only that he was always happy with everything that he had, he said that Avraham Avinu lived with peace and harmony with everyone that was around him, with everyone. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless Avraham Avinu that whoever gonna be in his sight, always gonna be peace and harmony. That's mean what it means, bachol, peace, shalom. By the way, the name shalom is one of the name of the Almighty, how Hazal explained. So that means that Akadosh Baruch Hu blessed Avraham Avinu with everything. That's, remember the Hatam Sofer, Rabbi Moshe Sofer. The Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, he bring the Midrash that called Midrash Reuvani. The Gaon Hida born in Jerusalem 296 years ago. And he bring the Midrash of Yalkut Reuvani. And he said like this, you know what it means, Bakol? It says, Akadosh Baruch Hu bless Avraham Avinu with everything. He say the Midrash like this, when a person have a request from heaven, person want health, want wealth, whatever is it, he need from Akadosh Baruch Hu, he daven to Akadosh Baruch Hu grant it immediately. What stopping it from coming down to earth, said the Yalkut Shimoni, it's Midat Adin, the character trait of judgment. And she come to the front of Akadosh Baruch Hu and say, wait, Vachabiki, wait a second. That person sin. How can you bring him? And now the court in heaven start looking in his case. And they start deciding, listen, he wants $1 million rand, for example. But he done certain averot. Okay, the court in heaven sit and they decide how much he can get from it. What he will get, how much of it, how much prosperity he supposed to get. Say the Midrash, when it's come to a person like Avraham Avinu, what it mean Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu was Isha Hesed, and that's the secret. He said that person that do hasadim with other people, be a person that do mercies, he have mercy and kindness with other people, Akadosh Baruch Hu, although that he done averot that person, he override, and he given him whatever he requests. And that's what it says, Ve'Adonai berech Avraham bakol. Why Adonai? Because the word Adonai, we explained, the Midrash say, that's the character trait of mercy and compassion. Akadosh Baruch Hu come and tell you, from here you learn, said the Gaon Hida, that if a person do kindness with other people, milut hesed with other people like Avraham Avinu, the character trait of judgment have no control. That means the court in heaven doesn't have, it's closed. Akadosh Baruch Hu closed the court and said the case is sealed, granted. That means that people do hesed in this world, Akadosh Baruch Hu bless him with what? With everything that he need. And that's what it say, Ve'Adonai berechet Avraham bakol. Look, it doesn't say Shem Elokim, that character trait of judgment. He said Ve'Adonai, that's the character trait of hesed, kindness. How a person get it? If you want to overcome, do kindness. And Hazal tell us, Ma ya'aseh Adam, Hazal in the Gemara ask, Ma ya'aseh Adam ve'yinatzel mihevlo shel Mashiach. You know, in the end of days, like we are now, we see that the world turning upside down. Everything is mishugana. People gone mad. Prices is mad. I don't know what's happening in the world. Say Hazal, ya'asok b'Torah u'bigmilut hasadim. You know what can help you to be saved, to be redeemed from those difficult times? Study Torah, number one, and do gmilut chesed, do kindness. So that's what it's come to tell us, something important in this verse. Avraham zaken babayamim. Avraham was well old, very old. Not only that, Hashem birichet Avraham bakol. Akadosh Baruch Hu blessed him with everything. You know what is it? Everything with the character trait of what? Of kindness. He managed to get to all of that. That he lived old and he received everything. He was rich. Why? Because the character trait of judgment couldn't do nothing. Akadosh Baruch Hu closed the case, basically. And he said that now, if you do kindness from here, Hazal learn, That's what it's mean b'chol. But with everything, when you do kindness. Let's move on to verse in the same chapter, chapter 24, verse 44. Sorry, 54. 54, not 44, 54. In verse 54, we see something very interesting that the Torah tells us. And it's going to sound very simple, but we're going to try to explain it in a different way. And it says like this, Vayuchlu, Vayishtu, hu ve'anashim. אשר עמו וילונו ויקומו בבוקר ויאמר שלחוני לאדוני.
They ate and drank, he and the men who were with him, and they spent the night. When they arose next morning, he said, send me to my master.
Okay, basically, if you look in that verse, we know that Eliezer, the servant of Abraham Avinu, what it say here, that he ate and the man that was with him, okay, and they slept. When it says slept, that means that they slept overnight, they wake up in the morning, and he asked, please send me to my master. That's on pshat of the dvarim. But what's hiding behind it? Vayuchlu, vayishtu, hu ve'anashim asher imo. What does the Torah tell us? And the man that was with him. What different who was there? Why, you have to tell me that man was with him? Obviously was man with him, because when Eliezer came to the house of Betuel, wasn't only Betuel there, was Lavan, was other people when Eliezer came. So why does the Torah tell us, and the man that was with him? Not only that, listen what it said and how he said. Ve'anashim asher imo. That means that they ate and they drank, and the man that was with him. What it mean with him? So in Hebrew, it sounds a bit different. According to the pshat of the dvarim, when Eliezer Eved Abraham reached the house of Lavan, he ate from the food that been dished in the house of Lavan. I saw a commentary that mentioned in a book of Imre Kohen, the book called Imre Kohen. And he explained like this. He said, a matter of fact, when Eliezer and the men sat to eat, you know from which food they eat? They didn't eat from the food of Lavan. No. They ate from the food that Eliezer brought from the house of Abraham. How do you learn that? Because it says Asher Imo. What it mean Asher Imo? That he brought with him. That means the food that Abraham Avinu sent with Eliezer, all of that, migdanot, as Chazal say, it's good stuff, good food, like you call it, whatever it's there. Chazal say that he brought them tamarin, dates, and etc., all of that. It's come to tell you that Eliezer Ibn Abraham didn't eat from the food that was on Lavan. He ate from the food that he brought with him. He didn't want to eat from the food that Lavan wanted to give him. And Chazal said that a matter of fact that Lavan was such a miser, he didn't want to give nothing. He was so miser that he didn't give nothing. So what happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Abraham Avinu, send with your servant enough food that when they go to bring Rivka to Yitzhak Avinu, the food that he gonna eat, it's gonna be from the food from your house. And we know Chazal tell us that Eliezer Eved Abraham haya dole v'shoteh mirabo. What does it mean? That Eliezer Eved Abraham was a righteous man. He was a Talmid Chacham. Where did you learn all of his Torah? From his master. Who was his master? Abraham Avinu. So obviously he didn't want to eat. That's my opinion. I'm sure it's many of the opinion that my fault. He didn't want to eat from the food that been dished by who? By Lavan. Why? Because it's not kosher. Not that was kosher, but the food that they used to eat, they used to give them food that they used to sacrifice to, or in honor of, the idols. And that's what he said, Piniti Abayit. And Rashi HaKadosh explained what it means, Piniti Abayit. I clean the house, I clean the idols from idols. And that's why it says, Asher imo. What it mean Asher imo? From the food that he brought with him. Let's move on with that. We're going to conclude. We're going to conclude with something good. In chapter 25, in verse 11, here we see something very extraordinary, something really that we usually don't see. And look what it says. ויהי אחרי מות אברהם, ויברך אלוהים את יצחק בנו, וישב יצחק בבאר לחי רועי.
And it was after the death of Abraham that God blessed Yitzhak his son, and Yitzhak settled near Be'er Lahai.
Many of the Mefarshim stood on it and asked this question. Look what it says. ויהי אחרי מות אברהם, it was after the death of Abraham, ויברך אלוהים את יצחק. Elohim blessed Yitzhak. Why not Abraham Avinu bless his son, the beloved son, the son that he loved so much? Why Abraham Avinu didn't bless Yitzhak Avinu? That many of the Mefarshim asked that question. I saw one of the answers that I saw, it's brought in a Zohar, in Parashat Toldot. Hazal bring it in a Zohar, in Parashat Toldot, in 135, in page 135, folio 2. There, the Hazal answer like this. You know what was the reason behind it that Avraham Avinu didn't bless Yitzhak, his son that he loved so much? The one that in the age of 100, after 100 years old, he getting his only son from Sarah Imenu, the son that he loved. And we say it every morning. That means take the only son that you love, take him to the Akedah in the age of 100 and 137. Yitzhak Avinu was in the age of 37. Avraham Avinu was 137. How come all the Mefarshim asked that question? You don't bless your own son. Very valid question. So the Zohar say, Hazal in the Zohar saying, with that I'm going to conclude. The Zohar say like this. Avraham Avinu saw in Ruach HaKodesh. He saw in Ruach HaKodesh that Yitzhak Avinu going to have twin, Yaakov Avinu and Esav Rasha. And he knew that if he going to bless Yitzhak, who will benefit from that blessing? Esav Rasha. Avraham Avinu said, I'm not going to bless you. And my grandson, the wicked grandson, going to benefit from it. The Zohar says Avraham Avinu kept the brocha until he gone up to heaven. When his soul gone up to heaven, this brocha was sitting in heaven. HaKadosh Baruch Hu now took the blessing from Avraham, listen to that, and he himself blessed who? Yitzhak Avinu. That means, said the Zohar HaKadosh, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless a person, he bless him directly. That means that all the benefit that Yitzhak Avinu got, where does it come from? From Avraham Avinu. But the blessing comes because of Avraham Avinu through HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So said the Zohar HaKadosh, you know why? Avraham Avinu died 5 years earlier, like we explained, that he wouldn't see his own grandson dying, his own grandson, Yotzeh Tarbut Ra, Esav Rasha. He said in the same merit, I'm not going to bless my beloved son, that my wicked grandson going to get a merit from it. So what happened? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took that merit from Avraham Avinu and him himself blessed Yitzhak Avinu. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless us, all the Jewish people, and send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. If anyone have any questions, Parsha, please, I'm going to give
Thank you.
now. You can ask question about the Parsha. Anyone that want to ask question, B'chavod.
Rob, can I ask you something? It's a worry for me. Abraham, he pleaded with Hashem not to destroy Sodom. He pleaded so much to save life. So why didn't Abraham Avinu plead not to save his own son when Hashem wanted him to do the Akedah?
Very
And
good.
that's a difficult question.
Very difficult question, but I make your question even more difficult. Avraham Avinu always preached that there is only one God. There is no idols. One of the idols that was in daytime is Avodat HaMolech. What it means, Avodat HaMolech? That the idol worshippers used to have kind of an idol that called Molech. What it means, Molech? That when they have a little boy, they used to sacrifice it. The family used to sacrifice the little boy, the newborn boy, to who? To the idols. And now, so they couldn't hear the noise. It's called a molech, that they used to take big drums and used to hit it, that they couldn't hear. They couldn't hear the screaming of the baby. You understand that the parents and everyone else couldn't hear it. That was their method how to do avodah zarah. So now, I'm going to make your question more difficult. Avraham Avinu that gone around the world and preached and said, listen, you worship idols. And now Avraham Avinu have to stand on the same test, that he have to sacrifice himself, his son, to who? To HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How's it work? You understand the question?
Yeah,
so
it's a very big kasha, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So now, how would you solve it, Dr. Les?
We need you,
You
right?
tell me, not me.
No, we need you, right? That's a really good kasha you got there. Wow.
Hazal say that was the test. What was the test? The test to take Yitzhak Avinu to the Akedah wasn't difficult. Why? Because like we explained in the beginning, Sarah Imenu already prepared her son for what? That everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said we must do. Everything for the sake of heaven. So that you can say maybe it's not hard. It is hard, but there is a kula. The Mefarshim say, you know what was the test? The final test, and why it was the most difficult? Because Avraham Avinu for so many years preaching, not to do this kind of idol worship. I want to see what you're going to do now. You're always preaching, believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Do you love me really? Let's see. And that was the test. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Avraham Avinu, no matter what, have to contradict all what he said for the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that was the test. And Avraham Avinu didn't care. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me to do, I'll do. And that's what we explained in the previous last week Parsha. What is the angel say? He said to Avraham Avinu, Al tishlach yadcha el hanar. Don't send your hand. Because Avraham Avinu took the ma'achelet. The ma'achelet is the knife. Why they call it ma'achelet? That until today, she'ad hayom, Hazal say, ochlim me'ota ma'achelet. That we eating the benefit, that merit of the mitzvah, we benefiting today. The angel said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what is he said to him? Al tishlach yadcha nadar. Don't send your hand. Don't harm that child. Ki ata yadati, ki yireh Elohim ata. Now I know. I'm the angel that you created, because the Hazad, the Kabbalistic Rebbe explained that every mitzvah that a person do, he create an angel. You created me. Came the angel and say, I'm the angel that you created. I'm now here to testify that you done that mitzvah with full heart, with no doubt. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell you to take your son, to sacrifice your son, you didn't have one doubt. Why you didn't have one doubt? Although that it's against what you preach all of those years, you done it with a full heart. So the test was, would Abraham would do that against what he preached all of his life? Do you understand, Dr. Les?
Yeah, amazing. Sure.
I hope that I answer your question, that he done it for the sake of it.
Much.
Any other questions?
A big chiddush, really.
Go on. Any other question, Rabotai? Anyone want to ask question? Okay, no question. I will take the opportunity. Just remember.
Yes. Hello? Can I ask
Yes.
Anthony? Why does the Torah spend so much? Why does the Torah give so much detail to Avraham finding a wife for Yitzhak? Why does it go into so much detail? So much time is spent in the Torah discussing it, but other cases, not much time is given normally to that type of thing.
Okay, so in previous year we explained how old was Yitzhak Avinu when he got married? 40.
40.
Yachon? 40. Why so old? You ask yourself, why so old? Why not young? So here we explain in the beginning of the show. We know that Avraham Avinu, when he sent Eliezer, his servant, to find a wife to his son, Hazal tell us that Eliezer himself have a daughter. Eliezer at the beginning wanted his daughter to marry who? Yitzhak Avinu. Avraham Avinu say, you a slave. A slave can't marry a master. So the second option, he lived in Eretz Canaan, the Canaanite. Why didn't marry the Canaanite? Hazal explained that morally, the Canaanite was destroyed. Not only destroyed, there was no moral. There was corrupt, completely, morally there was corrupt, the Canaanite. Hazal asked, wait, now you're sending him where? To Haran, to Lavan, to Aram Naharaim. What there is there? Idol worshipping. If there is idol worshipping, what's better, idol worshipping or morally corrupt? Hazal say that Avraham Avinu preferred that people will be idol worshippers and not morally corrupt. Why? Because morally corrupt you can't fix. But idol worshipping come from people unfortunately not thinking straight, not developed enough, whatever you want to call it, paganism, whatever you want to call it. Avraham Avinu makes sure that his son will get married in the age of 40. You know why? That he will have wisdom. And Hazal say in a Mishnah in Masechet Avot, בגיל 40 לבינה, 30 לגבורה, 40 לבינה, 50 לדעה. What it means, bina, wisdom. Avraham Avinu say, I will marry my son only after he get to the age that he'll have wisdom, that he will have enough influence, okay, to influence the wife that he take, and the wife not gonna have influence on him. So the Torah come and tell us all of that and put emphasis on how important, number one, that the father have to make sure that he find a decent wife to his son. Number two, and if you're staying in a situation like they was, you have to make sure that you have to take all the precaution, all the necessary precaution to make sure that your son will have enough tools how to deal with that situation. And that's what the Torah comes to teach us here. Why Dafka, they spend so much time about Yitzhak and Avraham. That just remember that Yitzhak was the second father. What it means? The next legacy of the Jewish people. If it wasn't Yitzhak, if Yitzhak would go away, wouldn't be any more Jewish people. So the Torah come and teach us what method, what precaution Avraham Avinu done to make sure that the Jewish nation will continue to grow up. Now you understand why. Any other question?
Yes, thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question? If I can answer. No. Okay, I would like to take the opportunity to wish all of you a great Shabbos. Have a great Shabbos. Enjoy the Shabbos. Keep safe, keep healthy. Just to remind you, on Sunday, we're doing the second part of the book of Yoshua. I hope that you enjoyed it. So please join us, Be'ezrat Hashem, on Sunday if we don't have load shedding like we have, or power failure, whatever they want to call it, on Sunday. Wish you all a great good Shabbos. Hope that you enjoy the show.
Rob, thank you very much.
Thanks,
No,
Rob.
thank you, Rav.
Thank you, Rav.
Have a
Amazing.
good Shabbos as
Thank you,
well.
Rabbi.
And Mazel Tov, Rav. Mazel Tov for the extra
Yeah,
smicha.
definitely a mazel tov.
Thank
Big
you,
mazel
thank you.
tov.
Thanks to all of you.
Huge.
Thank you.
Bye, Rav.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye, Rav.
Bye.
Bye.